Is that a good mount? I don't know if that's a good mount or not. Anyways, what's going on, guys? I have, you know what? Let me just show you. I have this little magnetic mount that I just put on. It like tapes onto the dashboard, and then you can just like have a little magnet strip on the back of your phone, and it kind of holds it in place, which I think is pretty cool for like GPS and whatnot. So I put it on last night, and I'm testing it out right now for recording, which is hands-free. So that's pretty cool instead of using my little tripod thing. But anyways, without further ado, it feels so weird, like, because the steering wheel, whatever. I am heading to Starbucks right now. I want to get a nice cup of coffee to start my morning off with. Then I have to head over to Advanced Auto Parts and get some plugs. If my boy's working, I know it's going to be no problem switching them out for new plugs. But if he's not, then I might need to just buy a new set, which is fine also. But a couple of them, they're not completely melted, but you can see the tip of them is starting to like be a whole different shape, I guess you could say. I had a couple, quite a few beatings on these plugs. This is the same plug that I got street tuned, went to the track, raced a couple times on Forza, because that, you know, that new street racing law, I can't be recording videos on the street no more, whatever. So yeah, I got a lot of hits on this these set of plugs, so it's time to switch them out. After that, I'm gonna run home, I'm gonna put those plugs in. I have to mess with the intake a little bit. The mesh screen that I had in the front of the intake broke, so I have to put a new one on. And also I have a passenger seat. Thanks to Max, he was able to give me his stock passenger seat that he had in his EK before. And I'll be able to put that onto the CRX so I can actually have a passenger now. And I just need a seatbelt buckle after that. But it should be a pretty good day. I don't go into work for a couple hours. And then I'll, you know, get some stuff done in the morning, and hope you guys enjoy the ride, whatever. I got it facing forward right now, which I think is a pretty cool view. It's probably good for like time-lapse driving, I guess you could say. It would have been cool for the cruise the other night to have this mount like in a fixed location. But I am here at Starbucks. I'm about to go get my cup of coffee. I don't know, what should I get today?
Welcome to Starbucks. How you doing today?
Good, how you doing?
Good. What can I get started for you?
Could I please do an ice grande caramel macchiato? Bougie.
Ice grande caramel macchiato?
Yes, please. And I'll also do a banana nut bread warmed up, please.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Papa.
Who's there?
It's Laura.
Laura, you're so weird.
I know. I see you. I was like, ooh, that sounds like a mini. I just wanted to say hi. Okay, bye.
Hey, how you doing? Thanks.
Banana bread warmed up?
Yes, please.
Alright. What else today?
That's it.
It'll be $8.24.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
It's funny, one of the girls that I used to work with when I worked at Starbucks just came over the mic and set us up. That was pretty cool. What's up, man? How's it going?
Thank you.
Oh, shoot. Whoa, sorry. My bad.
Okay.
Thanks, dude. What's up, Laura? How you doing?
I just saw your brother.
Oh, yeah?
Yes.
Nice, nice.
Yes.
Thanks, dude.
Thank you.
Yeah, I almost knocked that down just now.
Trying to steal the money.
Oh, my God. See you later, guys. Take care. All right, off to Advance right now. So I can swap out those plugs and not crash on the way there, because that lady just pulled out from her stop sign. Anyways, to Advanced. All right, pulling up. This camera mount is vibrating a little bit. I don't know if I like it. Look at that. Look at all that vibration. Look at it. All right, we here.
Those two options first.
2668. The goats. Well, for some reason they couldn't find the warranty here at Advanced. I know that I sometimes buy them from Shane through O'Reilly's, but none today at Advanced, so I just bought the new set, 42 bucks. But the NGK 2668 is what our tuner recommends for like boost and nitrous. So we're gonna go home, slap these in. Well, we're not gonna slap them in. We're gonna gap them first to what I was tuned on, so the gap is good and whatnot. And now I know that I have warranty with O'Reilly's and warranty with Advanced. So yeah, next time don't gotta spend the next $42. So yeah. All right, so I'm back home. These are the new plugs, obviously, still in the box. I wanted to show you, they're not super melted. It's not really anything crazy, but it kind of looks different from each spark plug to the next. Like for this one right there, if it'll focus, you got like the crisp edge on the plug end right there, and then this one is like a curved edge, and then this one's a little, that one's fine. This one's the main one right there. It just looks a little nasty, you know, and I feel like that's not giving a good spark, a good burn. Or if it's burning, it's not like as healthy as it can be. But hey, maybe I'm wrong. But you know what? Who cares? Plugs are a part of racing and maintenance, so I'd rather just have a fresh set in there, you know? All right, so I got the brand new plugs already gapped. I put them to 20. I use the feeler gauges instead of the little circle thing, because sometimes that can be kind of a pain and it's not always as 100% accurate as the feeler gauges. These, the goats when doing the gaps. So I got them to 20. These, I'm just gonna put them up into the old boxes, or into the new boxes. That way next time I go to advance, I can just warranty them out and have a second pair, since I have these laying around. Or instead of taking these out, next time I can just have a second backup type thing. Anyways, I'm just gonna pop the hood and get them swapped in. After that, I'll cut out a little screen mesh and show you guys the intake. All right, so let's pop this hood. Got that open. It's pretty easy with the coil unplug, because I just take out the 2 bolts holding the plate, and then all 4 coils come out. So it's really easy. I've got my spark plug socket right here onto my extension, your little 3/8 ratchet. It doesn't have to be anything super tight. Just gonna drop them in, start tightening them up. Now, some people will say never drop the spark plug into the tube because you'll mess up the gap. I don't think it does anything bad if you hold it and you drop it probably 1/2 inch. I kind of guide it in with my finger inside, pause, kind of just so it doesn't drop too far. But you got to think, like, some people gap plugs a certain way. I'm not saying what you should or shouldn't do, but when some people sometimes bang them onto a concrete floor, that way the gap closes up. You got to think the force that they do behind that to actually get it to close the gap is a lot more force than you just dropping it into there. But to each their own, you know, I'm not going to knock it to those who take extra precaution. Now, sometimes I'll just use a little gun on this, but you know, up to your preference. You don't always have to use a gun. And some people who don't have good control over a gun won't be able to get a safe torque on there, because if you over torque this and pull the studs out of the head, or the threads out of the head, you're in for a big job. That's good. So I thread them in by hand till it gets to the crush washer, and then I finish it off with the ratchet. You don't gotta be no hero. Just get it nice and tight. Give it like 1/8 to 1/4 of a turn extra. There's that. I'm gonna drop the coil packs back in. Push them in. Got my little retaining bolts. Stick that right there. Stick that right there. Push them down in. There we go. There's that, and my Burton Racing coil on plug connectors, right on, right there. Perfect fitment. And without further ado, new plugs are in. Simple as that. Took 2 minutes. So I was polishing the head the other day. You saw the other video. It's pretty polished up. And I didn't want anything going into the intake, even though I was polishing it outside. So I just put a little rag. I used to have this little screen, or mesh screen right there. You can see it busted out somehow. It got cut or something, and it was dangling. So I ripped it all the way out. That way it wouldn't continue breaking off and go into the engine. And I think I have some more mesh screens somewhere around here, if I can find it. Could have sworn I just seen it 2 days ago. I don't know where it went. Anyways, if I can't find it later, I'll end up just going to Ace Hardware and getting it. I think a whole roll is like $5 or something, and you only use like 5% of the whole roll. So it's good to have it, just have it backed up. It's really good for street cars that don't want to run an air filter, so you have like max flow. Well, I wouldn't say street cars, because at that point you want an air filter if you're trying to be safe. Or for example, a boosted car that you just want to put a mesh over the intake, or the turbo in that instance, so you have good airflow but don't have any rocks going in. It's always good to have some of that. But I'll end up working on that on another time. Right now I'm just gonna start cleaning up the engine, not the engine bay, I'm gonna clean up the passenger compartment. It's pretty much a rat's nest right now where all the wiring is. You've seen a couple videos ago, I was saying how I have to clean all this up. Right now I'm just gonna stick the ECU on the factory location with the stud up there. I gotta put the center console back on, which I took off the other day because I was having a lot of shifting problems, which I think is because of the transmission, but the culprit, which I think caused most of the shifting problems, was the shifter wasn't bolted on correctly. It had a lot of play in it, and the cables had the little stays on the wrong way, I think in the engine bay. So there was a bunch of slop. Now it's nice and crisp. But before, like, you would move the shifter and the whole box would move. So I'm gonna put this back on, clean up the nitrous line a little bit, like tuck it nice and easy out of the way, and then I can actually make room for the seat. I can't find my glove box either. I had taken it off when we first got the car. Luckily, Shane, he went to a Del Sol Dash on his CRX, so he has his glove box. He said I could get it from him. So one of these days I'm gonna put that in and really like complete the interior of the car. It'll look a lot better with the other seat, even though it's not a matching seat, but it'll be a passenger seat, and the glove box will make it look a lot nicer as well. Got the old plugs all packaged up, just gonna set them in here. Never hurts to have them, you know, especially when they're the plugs that you go through so often. I've got the seat mounted in. Obviously, this is an EK seat, and just like the Integra seat, I had to do some modifications to get this to work. Some people will swap out a rail, but since I don't have OEM CRX seats, I had no rail to swap over. So I ended up just, you know, kind of making my own mount, if you could say. Drilling directly into the floor and making some plates so it's nice and firm. That's not going anywhere. Anyways, I'm being stupid. All right, so I put the center console back on as well. I set the ECU on the actual OEM mount. So all this cluster used to be right there. Now it's a little bit more back. I kind of just moved it. One of these days when I'm not pressing to go to work, which I am in like an hour, I will actually undo all the wiring and then cut it to size and put it all really nice. But for now, that should be fine. And once I get the glove box, it should be around up to right there. And it'll look a lot neater than what it does right now. But yeah, I still have the fuel cell in the back and the nitrous bottle as well. There's a few things that I need to do to the interior to actually get it to where I want it. But for the most part, that pretty much is what I can do for the afternoon before work. I got it charging on my battery charger at the moment. That thing's really old and really slow. So hopefully I can get it to charge up before I have to go to work, because I want to do a little cold start for you guys. But yeah, we're looking pretty good right now. Brand new plugs. I still have gas in the tank. And shoot, if I get it to start up, I can even go to work in it today, not take the truck, because sometimes, you know, I like mixing it up. Some days take the truck, some days take the CRX, and like I used to, some days take the Integra. And why is there a wasp following me? You know, save the bees, but I hate wasps. Anyways, yeah. You know what? On second thought, it looks like it's gonna rain, and you know how Florida is with its unpredictableness. It's probably gonna pour. So I'll just make sure that the battery is nice and charged for tomorrow, and I will take it out to the meet tomorrow, and it should be fun enough to do that. I'm pretty sure that my trans is messed up. You guys saw me reinforce the second gear shift fork. I did that in a video back before I put the transmission back together over at Rookie Seller Shop at Sellers Racing Performance. But so I was talking to a few people on the all-wheel drive page. A couple said, you know, they swear by reinforcing the forks. or at least the second gear one, which makes sense. If they have the problem of bending, then you would want to reinforce it. And then somebody else said, I think Benjamin White, if I'm not mistaken, he's one of the all-wheel drive guys who knows a lot of the information from back in before they blew up, you know, and he was saying that something about the ratio, I'd be lying if I knew exactly what he said, but it was something, it's like the transmission isn't built to like perfectly synchronize or something like that, so the second would always have a lot of load. And he said that the only real fix or band-aid, I guess you could say, would pretty much be to like faceplate first and second gear, so it would take away that problem. So it's something synchronizer related, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, so now when I want to go into second, when I'm driving it, I have to super slow shift it very slow, let it wait till I come down, and then it goes in. And I think third gear synchro is already on the way out, because I think that one's on me though. When I had the clutch pedal issues and the slack in the cables, I feel like I was scraping against the synchro and not letting it do its job, basically. So like when I go into third, you have to hold it, and then you hear like the notch, like the when synchro is going bad, like it little grinds. So I'll put a little clip right here. And that was just an all motor pool a couple days ago when I was just testing out how fast I can actually drive the car now. Because like when I first got the car running, I'm used to banging gear. So I'm first spin, well, not spin that much on this because it's all-wheel drive for the most part, except for the you know, the rear diff that's still CRV. But I'm used to, like, you know, first spin, and then into second slam it, and then into third slam it, into fourth slam it, and ride it out. Well, in this case, go into fifth for the quarter mile. But it's definitely a learning curve. You have to get your brain to think of the shift times and how that's going to affect your specific setup. So it's like little things to note. But hopefully for the next time that the car comes out, like to race or something, I can actually have that in mind, that I actually have to delay the shift and let it come in, delay the shift and let it come into third, and then fourth and fifth is fine. But yeah. So I have, you know, first, second, third, fourth, and fifth. And it feels like, the only way that I can describe it is like on B-Series, you want to take all the slop out of the shift linkage, which is like little bushings and the washers and whatnot that have little joints when you go side to side and when you go forward and backwards. I feel like it's a linkage type car that all the slack is taken away, but I feel like the gears and the synchros are really notchy. I think cable gives a little bit more of like a more direct shift, if that makes sense, instead of like with the shift linkage, you feel like you're part of the transmission. With the cables, it feels like you're communicating to the transmission, if that makes any sense. So like when I go in, you can kind of feel the notchiness of the gears. Before I took all the slack out of the shifter and before I fixed the problems in the shifter, you could barely go into first. Second was really hard to go in. Third was like a fight to go in. And fourth was almost never a gear that you could go in. So I feel like a lot of the trans problems started because of the slack in the cables and the shifter box not being 100% bolted down how it should be. So the inconsistencies, I think, wore down the synchros and did damage to the gears. Obviously, this isn't a sports front-wheel drive car. This isn't an all-wheel drive competitive car, and this isn't an all-motor car where they put a lot of money into slamming the gears and then running a couple times and then changing forks or changing little things here and there. So this is just a regular street car that you're not really going to take the trans apart like a race car. What did I say? It's raining. And it was sunny like 20 minutes ago. And I had left my windows down because I wanted the car or the truck to, like, you know, breathe or whatever. Try to do that on hot days because Florida is so humid. You need to take advantage of it whenever you can. But I ended up getting the inside. Thanks, Florida, so much for taking the car out. But I can still drive it in the rain. Like, I just have to keep off of the throttle. Not too much water goes into like the intake. And it's not enough to hydro lock it, but if it rains a lot, then I don't want to risk it. And not having AC in the car obviously is crappy. So you have to ride down with the window just cracked a little bit. So I'd rather not take the CRX out tonight, you know? And that does pretty much bring an end to our vlog for today. I really just wanted to get some stuff done on the CRX. I'm super happy that the seat is in because now I can have passengers that aren't grabbing onto the oak crap handle or like on the back of the fuel cell. It was really sketchy taking people for rides. But now it's gonna be at least safe. All I have to do is get a seatbelt buckle because this seat didn't have it. And now the new plugs are in. So that's all set to go. Just gotta get ready for work right now. And yeah, hope you guys have a great afternoon. Keep on doing what you're doing, follow your dreams, and enjoy the rest of your day.